Hi, I'm Mort Cooper, your host on Change Your Voice, Change Your Life. I just had a little conversation, chit-chat with Dr. Curtis, who is guesting with us. He's been with us over the years. And we wrote a book called Curing Hopeless Voice Problems about SD, spasmodic dysphonia. Today's title is The Lady Killers. Why the Lady Killers? Because those people who have very severe voice problems, such as those enduring and suffering with a strangled voice, and that's what it sounds like. When you hear the strangled voice, you're not the same, and it's traumatic, not only for the listener, but for the person speaking. So in studio we have with us somebody who has had this condition. I believe you've had it, Tony Wilkers.
For about 30 years.
What does it sound like?
It sounds like a monster voice. It sounds like someone is strangling you and you're trying to talk. It's very forced.
Is that what it's sounding like now?
Yeah. I know. I need to get my pitch up, right, Doc?
Yes. Your laugh is your voice.
Strangled when her pitch is up. Why is that?
No.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
This is a neurological condition that you have. This is a permanent dystonia.
Yes,
what are you talking about?
That's what the medics
Why
say.
is her? How did you change? What did you do to change your voice? This is not possible.
It's magic.
Tony, what's the magic?
The magic is for me to keep my pitch up
Can you
and
do
to
it?
breathe.
Can you do it?
It's hard. It is very, very hard. I can do it, but it takes a lot of practice.
Yeah, you don't like the higher
It's
pitch.
not natural.
You don't like the higher pitch.
I don't.
It's girlish.
I sound like a 12-year-old.
Yes.
She does. Why do
Thank
you?
you.
Why do you want to create a gorgeous,
to the voice.
sexy, a very charismatic
John
woman? Why
Curtis,
do you take
listen
them
to the laugh.
and transfer these people
listen
back to
to that
pre-puberty?
laugh. Your laugh is
Prepubescent
gorgeous.
voice you're giving her.
Yes.
This is not a problem.
You're not doing a very good job here for my ego there.
Why did you lower the pitch of your voice? This is honest time.
Honest time?
Yes. We don't have much
actually,
honest
if
time
it
in
were-
our society.
There would be actually two aspects to it. The first would be to sound, I'm dropping it again,
It
to
sounds
sound
like
more
people
professional.
out there listening to you think that there's something wrong with their reception.
Yeah, it's because it goes all over the place.
But that's
yeah.
called, folks, spasmodic dysphonia, the strangled voice.
But her voice is dropping down into her lower.
drops
Yes,
in
well,
my throat when I
we're
do
going to
that.
ask why.
Because my high-pitched voice doesn't sound professional. That's
who
one
told
thing.
you that?
Nobody. I thought that myself.
Look,
but
this is a
on
society.
top of that, my husband also thinks I'm very high-pitched, and he says I can break glass in restaurants with my voice. So I'm very. He's always
So
telling
he
me to
brought
hush
you
it a little
down
bit.
and changed your identity.
He's got a very low-pitched voice, and my voice just sets him crazy.
You got into this condition slowly. You got into it when? At 18 years of age?
It started at 18, but it's in the last 2 years, it's gotten a lot worse.
Where do you feel your
Significantly
voice?
worse.
Where do you feel it?
Right here in my throat.
Okay. Stay away from that microphone, otherwise they'll believe you really have. They have auditory problems at the other end. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Can you say mm-hmm? You have trouble.
It's hard, and I can't hum. Normal things. I just can't do
Can
them.
you hum when you stand in place and run?
If I put my arms in the air.
Yes, you can. John, that's a laugh. That's her voice. Her voice is her laugh.
It is
It's a
high.
high-pitched
That's
voice.
why I should
Look,
be
her husband,
speaking.
you're going to break her marriage up.
I know.
You get her
I know
voice up
that.
too
We've
high,
already
send him
discussed
home, and
it.
then
He's gonna run away.
He loves you, doesn't he?
Yeah, except for the voice thing.
Your laugh is
He'll be fine.
is very much in your face. Now, you talked
just have
about
to
the
get my voice
neurological.
No, look, they've said, look, I've spoken with many medical experts on this subject. And I know you have a differing point of view than they do. They believe this is a neurological condition.
A basal
So-
ganglia problem, a neurological
I just want you to
problem,
just
a
answer.
genetic problem.
Yes, can you tell me how much neurological training you have? Because I want to know how it's possible for you to fix a neurological problem. Are you a neurologist?
Dr. Curtis, the answer is he always asks me the question. I'm not a neurologist. I'm not into the neurological attribute.
How is that
field,
possible to fix a neurological problem?
Because it's not a neurological problem.
The
Dr.
medics
Curtis.
say it's neurological.
The medics are off base. They're on the wrong road. I report cures. We just sent the book out And that book will be in the library pretty soon, called Curing Hopeless Voices. But the issue, and the hopeless voices is spasmodic dysphonia. The issue is their modus operandi, their paradigm. The medical community has never had one single cure since Traub, Ludwig Traub, in 1871, first described your condition as nervous hoarseness. When you use that voice, do you get nervous?
Yeah, when I use my strangled voice, yeah, everything gets tight. Yeah.
Yes. Well, he noticed that
Absolutely.
characteristic, so he called it the nervous
Interesting.
voice. Now, the problem is the
Interesting.
medical people
And it
have
makes you
medicalized
sound
you.
nervous, too.
Yeah. They have medicalized you. Do you know what that means?
They give us absolutely no hope. I mean, there's nothing.
No,
No hope,
it just
and
means
they're
that they need to
making-
treat it as a medical problem.
Yeah, they're making her a disease.
So what are her options? What are her medical treatment options?
She can have Botox, Bo for
Okay.
botulinum and Tox for toxin.
What is that? Is that?
It's a deadly poison. In
Well, wait a second. How can
therapeutic
somebody
terms,
give you a
it's
deadly
made
poison?
Botox.
No doctor is going to inject somebody with a weapon of mass destruction. This is how's that possible?
We went to war against Saddam Hussein, believing he had that botulinum toxin.
Actually, you know
Botulism.
where I heard that the botulinum toxin disappeared, and somehow they found it at a warehouse down in Irvine, California.
Yes.
It's called Irvine, the maker of Botox, Allergan Inc.
I wouldn't have my doubts about a lot of things, but I question the basic attribute, the basic paradigm of the medical community. They have never had one single cure in 135 plus years because they're treating the condition as a medical problem. And my take, it is not a medical problem. Now, here's the other thing that blows everybody's mind. I have 15 cures reported of spasmodic dysphonic cases diagnosed at UCLA Medical Center. That's over a period of years. I report 15 cures of those conditions. The answer as to why I can do that is because I'm using all-natural approach called direct voice rehabilitation. Now, as far as people have asked me, and you've asked me, why don't I teach? And my answer is, I can't get invited or into any meeting today in the medical field or academia with a newsie.
Well,
You know what a newsie is, folks?
crazy.
It's a submachine, an Israeli submachine.
It's crazy. I mean, there's a lot of people out there with this problem, and we need more doctors who will do something other than give us botulism shots.
Yes. I estimate millions, the same percentage as stutterers in this country, which is 1 to 2 or 3 million stutterers in this country. But think worldwide, if that's so, then there are countless millions of people suffering from spasmodic dysphonia. And the reason they suffer from it is the lady killers. What do I mean by that?
I'm not sure. Why don't you
John, do
explain
you
it
know
to
what
me?
I mean?
With the lady killers?
Yeah.
What? That.
Why? Why?
The voice itself.
Yeah.
Don't you think the voice can either be something very appealing, something very inviting, or something that can really turn people off?
That's right. Do you
Don't
know
you
that
think that
most-
this is a turnoff
Yes.
to a lot of guys? They hear a voice that sounds like this, they get scared.
Yeah.
I mean, they think, well,
but the
what's wrong with the
ladies
people?
want to sound more sexy.
Yeah.
They want to sound more with it. And most of
That's
the
deep
people
throat.
with SD, spasmodic dysphonia, right, are women, it is said. I don't find so. I think it's 50-50%. But it is also said that you cannot change the pitch of your voice. That's the NSDA. And if you do change it,
Okay.
it's going to be an impairment to your health. I've seen that on the chat room from the NSDA, National Spasmodic Dysphonic Association. They do not believe that you can change it, and if you do change it, they're making negative evaluations of it. But you can change it. Now, the medical community, John, is saying it's neurological, a basal ganglia problem, genetic, and so forth. Am I into those fields?
Well, that's what I was going to ask you.
I know what
I
that
mean,
is.
how much training have you had in neurology?
None.
So then how are you able to change a neurological condition?
I could change it because it's not neurological. That's the answer to it.
You think it's more of a mechanical problem?
Yes.
Is that what you would say, Doctor?
Yeah, when you say mechanical, say it again.
Mechanical.
Yes,
Mechanical.
say it higher. Why
say
don't
it in
you
a better
go higher?
pitch. Mechanical.
That's right.
Mechanical.
Why
See,
don't you
and
talk
this
like
used
that?
to be my pitch, so it's not like I'm really changing it. I'm just trying to get it back.
Right.
to where it used to
why
be.
do you?
She made a deliberate attempt in her life to really sound sexy and appealing.
Screwed me up real bad.
And now you're suggesting that changing her natural pitch is what has sabotaged her voice.
Yes, but she said she wanted a lower pitch because she felt it was too girlish.
No, she said her husband couldn't deal with her high-pitched
Right,
voice.
and it
No,
was
that's
too
the
girlish.
second
Those
attribute.
were
The first
both.
one
The
Oh,
is
you mean
both
so
ones.
you wanted to change it to begin with?
So she did that to
It
herself.
was too-
She wants more
It sounded too
authority.
You
young.
wanted to change your pitch too. When you were younger, you sounded like you were out of the Brooklyn Bronxy area.
No, I didn't want to change
You
it.
had
I
a
talk
nasal-
like this, I'm Morty too. No, I didn't want to change it. Two well-intentioned college professors at Brooklyn College said, "Don't talk
Recommended
like that. Talk all the way down here." And actually, it was a very effective voice.
Oh, it sounds good, but probably wasn't good for you.
It blew out. And the more I used it, I used more force. Is that what happened to you? You used
Yes,
more
you
force?
have to, because you can't get the words out. So
No,
then
it's
you're
not
putting
you
down
can't
more
get
pressure.
the words out. You can't get the sound out.
You can't, exactly. You
The
can't
words
get the sound
are trailing
out. You're
because
right.
it's talking down
You're
here.
right. You're right. And then you're putting more and more pressure behind it, and it strangles even more.
Yeah, and the lower throat gets very tense.
But don't you
right?
think
it
a
does,
strangled
it
sounding
does.
voice sounds kind of aged?
Well,
I mean,
yeah,
it doesn't
that's not a
sound.
good-
It's not a
that's not a
youthful
good
sound,
voice.
is it? In your opinion?
No.
No.
John, why
he's
don't you
trying,
do it?
he's trying to get
I'll
us
tell you
away
what.
from the
Let-
strangled
Look,
voice.
I like your voice. John, why don't you do it? Why don't you give us the sound of the strangled voice?
Well, I was on the phone with the former past president of the National Spasmodic Dysphonia Association, not the director I was telling you about. His name is former director. His name is Bob McAllister. He's the one that told me categorically when I asked him. I said, "Does your organization, NSDA, take a position about the use of Botox shots?"
What is the
He said
NSDA?
that's the National Spasmodic Dysphonia
It's
Association.
funded by Allergan, the maker of Botox.
I asked him that question also.
Uh-huh.
Is it whether he receives funding from Allergan Inc., the maker of Botox? He says, "I'm not at liberty to answer that."
Oh,
And
I
said,
think that's
"But,"
an answer.
I said, "It's on your website. Why are you not at liberty to report on something that's actually listed on your website?" This is the same kind of question, by the way, that I get when I ask Dr. Ludlow at the National Institutes of Health a very simple question. Dr. Ludlow, have you received any compensation or money or stock options of any kind, payments of any nature from the drug maker Allergan
Curtis,
Inc.
you're
over the
very
last 10 years?
articulate.
No, I
Dr.
asked you that
Curtis,
question.
you're very
I said, "Can you
articulate.
just tell me?"
You're wasting
It's a
your
yes.
breath.
It's a yes or no answer.
Yes.
A or B. Yes or no. She says, "I can't answer your question."
Dr. Curtis, you traumatize
And-
people.
and you know
Have
what
you no
she asked
sense of decency? Have you no sense of civility?
You know what she asked me? She said to me, "You have to go through the Freedom of Information officer." And so I
get
waited. I
anything.
waited 4 months for the information that I asked.
You
her.
are a very patient soul, I must admit.
And you know what they gave me? They gave me, yes, they gave me an email that she had written.